What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of BlockHash Exploring the Blockchain. Quick message from our sponsor, Nitro Betting. Nitro Betting is a top Bitcoin and crypto betting site that allows you to place bets in casino games, sports books, racing, gaming, you name it. It's your money. You should be able to have fun with it too, outside of traditional investing. So check out all the action at nitrobetting.eu. All links are in the description below. Enjoy the episode, guys. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of BlockHash Exploring the Blockchain, episode 359. Today, I have Louis. He's the CEO for XBorg, talking about what they're doing within Web3 gaming and the protocol that they're building out. Louis, welcome to the show, man. Happy to have you here. How you doing?
Yeah, thanks so much, Brandon. A pleasure to be here. Looking forward to diving into what we do in the gaming space, and yeah, so much looking forward to this.
Yeah, looking forward to chatting with you and learning a bit more. Before we jump into XBorg, tell us a bit more about yourself. What's your story like? What's your background? What have you done prior?
Yeah, essentially studied business. Was also very interested into the tech. But so I was very technical when I was young, but really was curious about finance. So around 2020, I'm still fairly young, but I was a quant at Credit Suisse, so a large bank. Mm-hmm. Then I was pretty much the head of crypto at Rothschild, and my goal was to understand deeper about financial markets. So I was diving deep into this sector, but before that I was also deep into crypto. But for me at the time, crypto made a lot of sense, but it made way more sense once I understood the way financial institutions work and the way inflation works and like those basic economics. But although I studied business, it was very theoretical. And then once you delve into the banking industry, then you sort of, it makes more sense to you. And then seeing Bitcoin as a fixed supply assets, where transactions are immutable, really makes a whole lot of sense to me. And then that's really, 2020 is really where I went super deep. So I was contributing on the MakerDAO protocol. I was council members at a couple of large DAOs. So I was really into the tech, but also just the philosophy of governance. And yeah, just before that, I was still into bits and pieces of crypto. Started in 2017, was doing MEV strategies and arbitrage strategies, but it was more on the tech side and not so much in the philosophy of crypto. And essentially how I came to gaming was not from a professional background, but I've always been playing on the side. And I would say from 11 to 18, a lot of my life was about gaming. I was waking up at 6 a.m. just to game. I was a big Call of Duty fan. I still am a big FPS fan. And then I really thought that blockchain technologies can empower players, and that there are so few people that focus on infrastructure over just playing games. And then the challenge of delving into the gaming industry, whilst the majority of gamers hate crypto and hate NFTs and hate blockchain, felt like a very compelling challenge to me. And it's sort of my way to make an impact on the gaming industry. It made me so happy back then as a young kid, and I feel like just giving back by building hopefully things that add value to the space with XBorg.
That's awesome, man. Yeah, I've come from a bit of a gaming background too, not professionally, but I like to play Call of Duty and Halo growing up, all the way up to today. So I've always wanted to do something in the space too. But it's really interesting how much I think blockchain ties into the digital space with gaming too. So I think those two form a really fascinating intersection for Web3. I'm sure you know this as well, working, in this side of the space with XBorg. And that's what I want to talk about today with you is what you guys are doing with XBorg. Like, what's your mission? What's your goal? What do you guys want to try to accomplish?
Yeah, so we are looking at the gaming industry where one thing that has a lot of value is the data that you generate. And now in gaming, none of that belongs to you. Like, you have your in-game assets, but most importantly, your data is essentially what you create with your time. And we believe that time is one of the most scarce asset that you have. And hence, we believe that data, to some degree, and not the full extent of it, but should be useful. Because today, the data that you generate on platforms like Steam or Epic, it does not belong to you. And beyond just simply ownership, it's not useful. Like, it's hard for you to aggregate this data. And so what we are creating is we are aggregating your achievements and your history of all of your gaming experience, but also active gaming experience, so what you've done in the past, but also what you continue to do in the gaming space, around what we call the XBorg ID. But most importantly, I don't think the XBorg ID is so big of a new concept, but we are giving utility to this data. So what we're creating is a way for you to log in with your gaming credentials and have access to new user experiences. So what I mean by this is, for example, we have a launchpad where, by just virtue of connecting your wallet or your just simple accounts, you can access opportunities that fit your profile as gamer. So ownership is a pretty tough topic because you're dealing with data that does not belong to you initially, like they are from third parties. But at least giving utility to this data. And so Launchpad is one of them. One of the big things that we are working on is gamer base, which today is called XBorg.gg, but it's one way in which gaming communities can engage with their fans. And all of this happen through your XBorg ID. And the big vision that we have is that we will be able to give you insane utility to the data that you generate. Because the main thesis is that we will spend more and more time playing games. And as such, the time that you spend should be somewhat valuable. So we don't want to pitch like Ponzi-nomics that you play, you earn. It's more like you play and you can have access to extra utility. And the utilities can be such that, for example, you have an NFT and you might be able to lend your NFTs, but not based on collateral, but based on your reputation. So you can imagine that we had the scholars back in the days that don't really think about this concept too much, or don't believe rather, but you can lend an asset to a good player today. Same like esports, for example, is a pretty closed industry. But what if you can just connect your XBorg ID to a platform where esports teams can scout players based on their credentials? That's really the ecosystem that we're trying to build. So yeah, that's our mission today.
Yeah, let's dive into what you can do in terms of creating utility around that gamer data that you generate over time. You mentioned NFTs. Is that something where you'll be able to maybe rent out achievements or potential gamer profiles or items or things that you accumulate, or what does that more encompass?
So, and I think that's so XBorg is really the intersection between social-fi and GameFi. Now, why is social-fi? Is because data is, to me, at least the utility of your data is inherently social, because you use your data for a given utility. But for example, today, I view achievements as social capital. And when you think of lending primitives, so when you think of lending protocols, or NFT marketplaces like ReNFT, you need to deposit collateral in order to borrow an asset. So it's essentially depositing money to borrow more money in forms of NFTs. Now, we believe that your reputation and your achievements, all this has inherent value, such that it might be able to decrease your collateral. It makes sense because in a world where people try to optimize the value of their NFTs, we think of optimizing the value of the NFTs as getting those in the hands of the best players, that because you're renting those to the best players, you will be able to afford as a lender, like a lower collateral. So it's really what this is enabling. And I also think that Lens protocol, this leading social file protocol, is also going that way, such that you will be able to access DeFi with your like social credentials. So it's basically lending based on reputation and credentials more than what you already have, and this unlocks so many things for lending primitives, but also social fi in the future of interactions.
How can you, from a social aspect, maybe integrate this into a platform or create a platform or application for games or communities or other brands, maybe for them to engage with their fans or allow their fans to engage with each other? You also mentioned scouting earlier. Is there a way to like conglomerate all these people into a community or organize it on an existing platform?
So how this can be social is like, for example, you can form communities based on how similar one's profile is. So let's say your top 10% player on CSGO, then you can be matched with users on CSGO. Gamerbase, what this does is it's using the XBorg ID as a way for you as a fan of a community to build your identity. On Gamerbase, when you build your identity, is really gamified. So the way we think about this is your identity should be represented by your personal self. And the way we do it is you have your own avatar. And as you build your identity, so as you claim achievements within your identity, you unlock certain items for your avatar. So we're pretty much building like an RPG-like experience where as you climb up the ladder and unlock achievements, those are gaming achievements. And that's, by the way, how we process data into the XBorg ID. Then you unlock specific wearables for your avatar. So you have like unique skins. Now, these are things that gamers do like. And today, Gamerbase, which today is known as the XBorg DG, but I believe when we release this podcast, we will have rebranded. It's the main way in which you build your identity. The other social components is, for example, brands can directly message gamers. So today, when we think of advertisements in the gaming space, you go through intermediaries. So you go through TikTok ads or Facebook ads or ads on X / Twitter. Well, with the credential network in your XBorg ID, brands can directly target specific profiles in exchange for a fee. So that you can effectively monetize your impression towards brands. And that's something, we have very relevant conversations with top brands out there, and they are very interested in this concept. So that's pretty promising.
That's very interesting. Could a lot of that be done or will be done within like the XBorg app as well, or outside of that?
Yeah. So Gamerbase is so the previous XBorg app is the main way in which we put data into your ID, because we believe it should be fun. Again, like if it's just like connect your accounts, to me that really feels like a boring experience. And we want Gamerbase to really be the leading client, like the leading user interface, and your gateway to your identity. So all of this is happening on Gamerbase, but then the beauty of the ecosystem is that any developers can build on top of your ID. So you have to think of GamerBase as the main way to ingest your data. And then we have an SDK, so software development kit where developers can use your data. And beauty of that is the more we use your data, the more you earn, and in a way that is sustainable. Like it's not like crazy yield where you play and you build your identity and you earn by just token emission. Is because there is a sort of flywheel in the economy. You earn by proxy of leveraging your data.
Do you want to keep this exclusively within the Web3 gaming community, or is this something that you would like to see integrated into traditional esports, into common gaming tournaments, maybe around like things like Call of Duty, or even into maybe platforms like Twitch or YouTube at some point? I could see some really cool integrations for this.
Yeah, definitely. No, we take a very Web2 centric approach. Our key focus this year has really been to target gaming communities for GamerBase, because again, that's like the top of the funnel acquisition. And we successfully partnered with more than 10 teams today, most of which are just tier 1 teams. So if like a bunch of them are at the ADC, for example, we've partnered with Team BDS, a major team on League, but also Rocket League. And
hey guys, quick message from our sponsor, NitroBetting. NitroBetting takes your desire for anonymity seriously and allows you to play without the need to worry about identity checks and personal information. It's a betting site, not an investment site, so you should be able to just have fun. As a top trusted Bitcoin betting site, NitroBetting has truly got your back. Now, back to the episode, guys.
We integrate with Epic, Steam, Twitter, Discord, Twitch. So we ingest data from a lot of Web2 sources. The communities are very Web2 as well, like esports teams, influencers. We've onboarded Fox. It's a major person, a player in the CS:GO scene. But the concept of ownership is a bit taboo, because inherently this data does not belong to you, and there is a reason for this. So there is ownership as far as Web3 data is concerned, because we've partnered with games like Parallel or Illuvium or Cross the Ages. However, when we look at traditional publishers, then the concept of ownership is way more taboo. So we first think of utility to then eventually delve into ownership, because these are conversations that take a lot of legal conversations. There's a lot about IP, a lot about copyright. So this is not straightforward. But yeah, we do have all of these great integrations with GamerBase.
Cool. What do you guys have any existing partnerships or collaborations with existing games within Web2 or Web3 as of right now?
Well, we do have authorization from the large publishers. And so that encompasses a lot of games to at least have GamerBase use those APIs. So that means we have like the SSO access on Epic. Also have the relevant accesses for Steam. As far as actual partnerships with Web2 studios, that's something we are, there's currently a lot of BD for this, like business development. So we are moving forward there, but we also focus on just a couple of big titles. And the big titles that are played by esports teams or gaming communities are mainly on Riot, Epic, and Steam. And those conversations with Valve, Riot, and Epic are ongoing. But it just takes a lot of time, because these are large corporations. What we do is fairly disruptive. And the concept of ownership is quite tight. Now, as far as Web3 games, we did partner with like most of the games out there, at least the most, I would say, the higher quality of games. We've also invested in a bunch of them. Like Cross the Ages was one, but we've partnered with a whole bunch of games on Mutable, on Polygon. Like I could name a lot of them, but Illuvium, Parallel, Cross the Ages, Gods and Chains. EVIO. I would say the most played games are today being onboarded on our platform as well.
Do you guys have a native token for your guys' protocol? And if so, how do you guys envision utilizing it?
Yeah, so we do have a token, and the reason why we have a token is we aim to be somewhat decentralized, as in the ecosystem that we're building. So again, XBorg is like this XBorg ID, and then this app layer. And Gamerbase is one app, the Launchpad is one app. Eventually, there will be a tournament platform, eventually a lending market. And we want this to be governed by XBG, which is our native token. There's also one thing that we do, is usually you have like conflicts of interest when you raise capital because you raise with equity. What we do is we raise with just token. That means that we put 100% of our focus into the token, and that's why part of the revenues generated from the protocol are used to buy back XBG and go back to holders that way. And yeah, that's one of the ways in which we make XBG valuable. Now, as far as the way XBG is used, first thing to me is governance. Is we want the holders of XBG to be able to govern all of the apps in the app layer. So obviously there are some apps that are not built by us. So third-party developers are building on top of us, but so XBG won't have an impact on those. But all of the ones that are funded by XBorg will have XBG as the core governance token, and that means going from the inception. So let's say we want to build a tournament platform. Well, the XBG holders will have to agree on a budget. So let's say 200K, 300K to build a platform, and then they will also agree on certain fees. So if you have a platform or you have an entry fee, then the holders will vote. Obviously, complete decentralization is somewhat of an utopia today, because you want people to execute at the end of the day. And it's also because we think that because we're so hands-on in the market that we kind of have the best knowledge and know what we need to do business-wise. Otherwise, XBG is used as the payments throughout the app. So for example, on Gamerbase, you have esports communities that are on the app, and even though we haven't launched the full product, they are already paying us for us to provide this service. So that's one way in which we generate revenues on the protocol. And all of this, so payments B2B will occur in fiat, but in the back end this is not 100% figured out, but there will be some OTC deals where we buy back either from spot or OTC from a big investor that wants to exit the tokens. Then also is gated access. So for example, it's not just the value that flows, but the gated access means that on the Launchpad, certain deals will only be accessible for people that have X amount of XBG. And yeah, that's pretty much the XBG ecosystem in a nutshell.
In terms of your guys' roadmap, what do you guys have coming up going into 2024? What's some stuff that you guys are excited about, or that you want people to keep in mind as you guys continue to develop out?
Yeah, so the app launches, we will launch by the end of the year, about 4 tier 1 esports teams. That means there will be 4 different avatars. And we're very excited about this because the teams that we'll announce, these are teams that we never partnered with anyone in Web3. And it's not like those so-called BS partnerships. They're actually using our product and driving growth to our ecosystem. And when we look at those communities, it's not tens of thousands of people, it's hundreds of thousands or millions of people that are fans of this ecosystem. And so for this, we're super excited to potentially lean towards being one of the fastest growing protocol out there. So this is to watch closely. Then as we get more growth into our ecosystem, at some point we will launch our token. So I believe towards the end of the year, we will be able to launch the token, or potentially into beginning next year. And that is really exciting because that's where we open up the governance of the protocol. Then there is the Launchpad V1. So Launchpad will come in later next year, likely in Q2, and that's where we will have public sales of pretty large gaming projects that are close to us. So some of them have already gone through our Launchpad in the seed round, pre-seed round, but they will come back for the public round. If we look at another innovation later this year is what we call the ITO, which is the short form for initial team offering. And that's one of the innovations that we haven't discussed, but that's also one of our products where we tokenized new or existing esports teams. And we will do it with one of the teams that we've signed. So we will do, one of the first large-scale, well, actually the first large-scale tokenized esports team, likely in Q4. We have a lot of legal discussions, but that is obviously for us a very exciting event.
I also saw a Extreme Championship series on your guys' website, XCS. Is that something that's existing and ongoing, or something you're working on?
No, we actually finished the XCS. So it was It was the largest Web3 gaming league, 100K of cash prize, 5 games, sponsored by Brave, the browser. And it was the biggest, let's say, esports event in the space. We did, I believe, about 3 million of impressions, 30,000 viewers, which is quite small, right? But the ecosystem is also quite small. And for this, we're very fortunate. It's an aspect of XBorg that we haven't mentioned, but why I believe so much in governance is because we have a strong community of players. And I believe that if you create an ecosystem where players have the control of creating the apps that they want, it makes a whole lot of sense because they will vote on apps that they will likely use and potentially invest in. And the XCS was a big event for our esports community. Our community very much likes esports. Last year, we've organized, I think, more than 100 tournaments. And that's why we have today one of the most, I would say, competitive esports community. And this community is just amazing. We raised about 2 million quite recently from our own community. They provide feedback on the products that we build. They're incredibly excited, and as founder, they just motivate you to go the extra mile and to push harder because these guys truly and genuinely believe in what you do, and that's super exciting.
Yeah, congrats on the success with that. That's awesome to hear. Where's the community at? If people want to go find it, they want to join the community, see what people are talking about. Where is it at usually?
Yeah, Discord is the go-to place. That's where we organize game nights, like tournaments, just random quiz. That's where people hang out. We also have the Prometheus community, so it's our own NFT community. It's a pretty active community, and that's where you can also see the behind the scene of what's happening. So it's pretty much like your friend tech, but directly within our Discord, and you have access to the brains behind XBorg. Like there is not just me, we're more than 20 now. So Discord is the go-to place. We obviously stream on Twitch, and we also try and be pretty engaged on Twitter. So if you go on XBorg HQ on Twitter, you'll find us. And we are on some Twitter spaces, on some podcasts every now and then. And that's essentially where you can find us.
Awesome. What about you? If someone wants to connect with you, they want to collaborate, they want to do some kind of BD partnership, whether just work with you directly, where can they find you?
My Twitter is Louis Régis. I'm sure we can link it somewhere here. yeah, and obviously we are pretty approachable. Otherwise, on Discord, I believe we're one of the few teams that can be, obviously we filter proposals, but if you want to directly reach out to me, you can. Twitter, just DMs are open, and Discord the same.
Awesome. We'll put all the links in the description below for the episode for XBorg as well as for you, so people can find you in the communities and everywhere we want to direct them. But Louis, thank you for taking the time to come on the show today. Really appreciate it. It's been very fascinating and interesting, and I love what you guys are doing and building within the blockchain Web3 gaming space. So keep up the good work, man.
Yeah, thanks so much, Brandon. And yeah, same. Just keep up the good work with the podcast.
Thank you. Likewise. We'll talk soon. Take care. Final message from our sponsor, Nitro Betting. Nitro Betting gives you so many options to bet, wager, play with a deep sports book from NFL, NBA, NHL, MLB, MMA, to motorsports, poker, blackjack, esports, Rocket League, Call of Duty, you name it. There's plenty of diversity and choice. So go to nitrobetting.eu to experience everything they have to offer. All links are in the description for the episode, and see you guys on the next one.